I'm coming towards the camera now. Hi, my name is Nick Shell, and this is going to be an interesting little debate we're going to do. I want to debate this comment that I received, and with all due respect to the person leaving it, I had a video called Receding Hairline, Don't Just Be Yourself. That was the name of the video, and in the video, basically what I said was this: if you don't believe in yourself, if you don't have the confidence that you need to be with or without a full head of hair, then in that case, just don't be yourself. Instead, be a version of yourself that you can believe in. I mean, that's a pretty simple concept to follow. I did receive a few comments here. For example, one from Joseph Anthony says, "Thank you for the info, man. Makes me feel great." You know, that's what I was going for. I'm just here to try to help people. But there's this one response, and I want to particularly debate one part of it. And here's another comment I received. It says, quote, "As not all people are good liars, not all people are capable of having faith, and either of those properties is as unchangeable as one's scalp hair pattern at a certain age," end quote. So I think there is some implying there that to be good at acting or pretending you have confidence, that's the same as lying. And I'm not here to debate that, because I think good actors probably are good at lying. And maybe that's saying that I'm a good actor. I don't know. And if so, I guess I have to take that as a compliment. But what I want to, it's just an interesting phrase here. It says, quote, "Not all people are capable of having faith," end quote. Let's process that out loud. Just hear it one more time. Not all people are capable of having faith, end quote. Now, I want to debate this, and I want you to participate in the comments here. Please add to the comments. I wanted to prove this one way or another. Now, the way I want to do this is with logic, is how I want to do this. The way you lose at this debate is by insulting each other, or me, or the person that left the comment. We're not here to hurl insults at each other. That's just juvenile, you know. That's for kindergartners, first graders, well, that's for the playground back in the 80s or 90s. That's not where we're mature, intelligent people today having this debate. So again, we're not insulting other people, but what we are trying to do is use logic to either prove this to be valid or invalid. So again, here's what we're debating. Quote, "Not all people are capable of having faith," end quote. Now, what I want to particularly do is to debunk this from a non-religious point of view. Okay, so what I want to do is, I'm not going to look at this from a religious point of view, and I'm also not going to look at this from a non-religious point of view. I'm going to look for more of a middle one. So you'll see what I mean here. Here we go. Here's my argument to quote, "Not all people are capable of faith." Well, right off the bat, we know that people who have faith are religious people. So automatically, yeah, we can't even talk about people who are religious, because they obviously have faith. I'm going to argue we also can't even talk about people who are atheist, because if you're atheist, you know for certain there absolutely is no God. Not even a chance. You know this for a fact. So the way I see it, I'm perceiving that's faith, that there absolutely isn't a God. Okay? So let's look at agnostics. The people that you would have to think are the most middle of the road. They're not saying that there is a God. They're not saying there is definitely no God. So they're not on either extreme. They're just saying, you know what? Maybe there's a God. We can't know for sure. I don't know. No one can prove it. So I think an agnostic point of view is the most middle of the road, the most neutral point of view you can actually have. And again, that's a non-religious by default. That's the most non-religious thing that it could possibly be. Because if you believe in God, you have faith. If you don't believe in God, if you believe there is no God, then you have faith that there definitely is no God. That takes faith, to believe that there absolutely isn't something that's unseen. Just like it takes faith to believe there absolutely is something that you can't see. Those are extremes. So in the middle of the road, we've got people who are agnostics. So you can say, well, Nick, what about them? They clearly have no faith. I think I can debate even that. See, I'm taking this to the most extreme I can, and at the same time keeping it as simple as I can. So I would argue that people, even who are agnostic, the most neutral believing people there are still have faith. And here's what that faith would be in: death. Okay, so we all die at some point. Yet none of us know what happens when we die, right? So people of faith would say, well, you have to live your life a certain way because you're going to be held accountable and judgment on that day. Whereas people who are maybe atheists say, absolutely no, it just goes to a black screen, that's it, or whatever that believes. But an agnostic person has to basically just, I guess, be so uninhibited by the concept of we die and then what, right? Well, I would think even someone who is agnostic, obviously they have some kind of moral code. And that moral code, maybe it's this, maybe it's, well, I could say to someone who's agnostic and I'd say, well, obviously, you're not religious, but you have a moral code, correct? And they'll be like, yeah, well, you should treat people how you want to be treated, or, well, at least I've never murdered someone. You shouldn't, treat people that way. So they have this moral code. And then I could say, well, what's that based on? Since at the moment of death, you don't believe that you don't know for sure that there's anything either way. You're not convinced there is anything, therefore you have to act in an exact certain way to please God or whoever's in judgment or who's holding you accountable for your life. So there's not that going on. Well, why even, why be a good person? And they'd say, well, because ideally it's going to keep you out of prison, and I believe in karma. What? You believe in karma? So what I'm proposing to you is, even if you believe in karma, you have a faith system. You believe that if you were rude and greedy and selfish to other people, that's going to come back and get you somehow. You're going to reap those benefits of being selfish and greedy to other people. Whereas if you're kind and giving to other people, the same will be returned to you. That it balances itself out. Clearly, I've just described a belief system of faith, something that you can't see or prove exists, but even that is going to be faith. And even then, I think we can still stretch it over to the atheist side a little bit, and that knowing that you're that the fact that you could live your life not knowing what's happening when you die, part of you is thinking, well, maybe religious people are right. Maybe there is a God that's going to hold me in some kind of form of judgment when I die, and I can't know that for sure. Well, you still have to be confident enough in your non-belief or your unknowingness to not live your life a certain way, to not believe in a God, to not identify that in this life. Otherwise, you're going to one day die, like we all are, and assume that whatever your non-belief system was, it was good enough to keep you from having to explain yourself, explain your life, wherever you have fallen short or done good things. Ultimately, that belief system would simply have meant that I wanted to stay out of jail, but then how do we extract karma out of that? I'm pretty sure we all have a belief system, and I think that I've covered it on some major grounds, but on just a little one. I mean, this may sound lame or whatever, but anytime you sit down in a chair, how many times do you sit down in a chair and you know that you're going to be okay? I mean, how often do you go to sit in a chair? That doesn't happen because chairs typically hold us up. We're so used to chairs holding us up that isn't that kind of a form of faith? We can't know for a fact the chair is going to hold us up, and we don't test the chair out first. But we have faith based on prior experience. I mean, how can you not have faith to some degree in your life? And I think it's debatable. I'm not arguing about God existing or not. I'm not arguing about what happens when we die. If you're arguing that in the comments, you automatically lose. That's not what we're talking about. I'm going to close by reminding you what we're actually debating without insulting each other, calling each other's names. This is what we're debating. Quote, not all people are capable of having faith. Leave your thoughts there in the comments, and thanks for participating.